So, now this is my favorite thing, asking questions. I'm not,
Fun part.
all right, so why don't you talk about when you were playing as a young player in the Kansas City area, you were not highly recruited by the big colleges. You went to a junior college. You were not highly drafted. Why don't you talk about what those early times were as a young player, whether you have big league ambitions, and how you felt about not going higher in the draft?
I think about it all the time, but you know, I remember getting drafted in 1999 by the Cardinals, and I remember they saying I was a drafting follow. There was a guy that drafted me. His name was Dave Carroll, I believe, and I went and played summer league that year. It was really frustrating because you know, growing up in the Dominican, obviously, education was first to me. My dad and my mom, they always told me, you know, you need to concentrate on your education. Baseball is almost like a coin that you flip it up in the air, heads and tail, and if you get the opportunity, then you get to the pro. But I remember down there that all I wanted to do is just go into school and play baseball. So finally, I got the opportunity in '99, got drafted by the Cardinals. It took almost the whole summer to sign with the Cardinals. And part of that was because, you know, we were talking about they want to give me, I think it was $15,000 for a bonus, but they didn't want to pay for my school. So I was telling them, I'm like, forget about my bonus and, you know, pay for my school. I mean, I can sign for $1,000 for you give me. I just want my school because, you know, getting to the big league is no guarantee to anybody. Any athlete can tell you that. I mean, we all, as an athlete, we are blessed to have the skill that God has given us to play this game, but at the same time, it's no guarantee that you're going to make it to the big leagues, because you see a lot of cases where a guy had a great career, first 2 years in the big league, great numbers, and 2 years later, they're out of, you know, working somewhere else. So I remember '99, you know, got drafted, 402 in the draft, left the house, really crying, just really disappointed because I feel all that hard work and, you know, going in the 402 in the draft, you know, it was a little disappointing. But I got in the car, I told my wife, at that time she was my girlfriend, I'll be back, I need to go out, you know, just drive around. And I remember a story, it was like God sending me a message, a story about George Brett. Same thing happens to him. He got drafted. He was really disappointed about how he went in the draft. And I believe his older brother, who passed away a long time ago, told him, you know what, if you're good enough, prove to these people and go out there and sign and make it to the big leagues in 2 or 3 years. So I went back home. It was like a straight message. I told my wife, you know what, no matter what the Cardinals give me, I'm going to sign. And I'm going to tell myself I'm going to play for 3 years. If I don't make it to the big leagues, then I quit. Which at that time probably was a lie, because if I would have still in the minor league, I would have still playing. Because this is the passion that I had growing up in the DR, watching my dad, my uncles, my aunt, everybody in my family plays sport, whether it's volleyball, basketball. So I told my wife, I'm going to sign this contract and I'm going to go and play. Thank God it's only took me 1 year to get to the big leagues. And obviously, you guys know my story, the rest is history. You know, I went to Straucheln League. I remember I was supposed to be a drafting follow. A drafting follow means a guy that maybe a chance to get to the big league, maybe no. And, you know, but it's just been a blessing since that day. And I believe, you know, that I'm not done. I still got 8 more years. My first couple of years with the Angel haven't been fun, but I still got 8 more years to hopefully finish strong.
One thing about Albert is there's several places we can go with this, but to me, the dramatic story is a good way to make a point sometimes. And he was, in our time, one of the great pressure hitters. If you look at his numbers, in not just regular season, but he would carry it into the postseason. And that's always a good measure. In fact, there are great players that would go into the postseason and their numbers would be under 200, and it was a difficult thing. But with Albert was always pressure personified. So I would ask him to just take us through this one at bat. It's 2005. We were playing the Houston Astros, who were really good at the time. We played them in 2004. 7 games we win. Now it's 2005, and they got us 3 games to 1. And if they win Game 5, we had split in St. Louis. We're playing the 5th game in their place. They're up 3-1 game-wise. If they win this game, they're going to the World Series for the first time in their history. Indoors, they kept. I think they did it on purpose. They would kept the place closed because they had the bees, Bijou, Bagwell, Berkman, the killer bees, and they had the zzz, and the fans were making so much noise. It's like the Metrodome. I mean, it'd drive you nuts. So we're going to bat in the top of the 9th inning, and they got a 2-run lead. They get the first 2 guys out. So the place was going nuts. I mean, you couldn't hear anything. And I can remember as a manager, I'm thinking, we're going to get beat. And in the back of my lineup card, I started to make a note about Cornelius. Our friends, the press, are going to come in and ask you how you lost this thing. I started to make a note. And David Eckstein goes to bat, and he hits a little ground ball for a base hit. Jim Edmonds comes up and walks. So see if you can recall what you were doing. When Jimmy was up at bat, and Brad Lidge is pitching, what were you thinking on deck circle? What did you think going up there? How did you do what you did?
Well, I go back remember in the bottom of the 8th, I was playing first base, and there's the left, there's the dugout, and I'm looking over there, they're all celebrating already. And as you guys know, you can't celebrate in this game too soon until you don't finish the game, because it happened many times. So they're all celebrating, some of the pitchers were doing the champagne thing with their hand, and I'm looking over there and I was just so angry. I was like, there was something on me that I was asking God, you know what, give me an opportunity. I want an opportunity. I want to be the last guy this year to make the last out in our team. So I was hitting 5th, I believe, in that inning. So top of the 9, coming in, looking to their dugout. Right away, I usually wait until I'm coming up 3rd or maybe 4th to put my batting glove. But there was something on me that I was going to get up in that inning, and I was going to do something. So I grabbed that batting glove, I grabbed my helmet, and Houston, that Tony usually stand out most of the time to the right. So I'm behind him praying and asking God, just give me one opportunity. I want one opportunity. It was just something in me that I want to be ready, because I knew that I probably was going to go out there, make it either the last out. I never imagined that I was going to hit a 3-run 100, but I got myself ready.